Good morning, CSL family. Please find a seat. They're arranged very interestingly today. We had a great fundraiser last night here in the sanctuary. We're grateful you guys are here today. It's a beautiful day in Boise, Idaho. We're glad you guys are online with us. Please come see us at your next opportunity. I'd like to introduce who's on the stage today. We have Mr. Rex Miller playing keyboards for you and putting this whole thing together as our musical director. Mr. Ted McClurg is playing bass today. My name is Phil Bowden. Thank you very much. And most importantly, we have the beautiful Michelle Bass singing for us today. So let's get going, Michelle Bass.
Everything I want the world to be is now coming true, especially for me. And the reason is clear, it's because you are here. You're the nearest thing to heaven that I've seen. I'm on the top of the world looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found ever since you've been around. Your love's put me at the top of the world. Something in the wind has learned my name, and it's telling me that things are not the same. In the leaves on the trees and the touch of the breeze, there's a pleasing sense of happiness for me. There is only one wish on my mind. When this day is through, I hope that I will find that tomorrow will be just the same for you and me. All I needed will be mine if you are here. I'm on the top of the world looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found ever since you've been around. Your love's put me at the top of the world. I'm on the top of the world looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found ever since you've been around. Your love's put me at the top of the world.
Good morning, CSL. Wasn't that a beautiful song? We should keep that song in our heart all day. Thank you very much, Michelle. Our reading this morning is from the founder of religious science, Dr. Ernest Holmes. It is called Practicing the Presence. How can we practice the presence of God unless we believe that God is right where we are? God and life are the same thing, and we are living in God and in life. For everything we do, say, and think is life living itself through us, expressing itself in us. We have been looking too far away. We have been delaying the divine event too long. As we learn to listen to this inner presence, getting our impulse from it, we shall be strengthened in mind and in body and in all of our affairs. We shall move even closer to the perfection of the divine pattern within us. So let's start all over again and begin today to practice and reveal the presence of God in people, in things, in events, in every creative act, in every thought and word, until finally we learn that God can be found everywhere. Not the God who was or the God who is going to be, but the God who now is. So let's just take a few minutes to relax, to think about the words that I've just read. Just enjoy the peacefulness of this moment and know that you are in the perfect place at the perfect time. We will now begin our World Religions Candles lighting. And it is my honor to introduce Cheryl Houdon, who will light the world religions from the Christ candle. In religious science, we perform this ceremony to acknowledge that all people and all faiths come from one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. In lighting these candles, we honor the one family of humanity, made up of over 4,000 religions and spiritual traditions throughout the world. We light the first candle for the Christian faith, which teaches the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the second candle for Islam. Their chief religious discipline is prayer. Here we learn, treat people kindly in this world and you will have kindness. We light the third candle in honor of Taoism. It is pointed out, can you not see that wisdom is trust, goodness is acceptance, and contentment is spirituality, is simplicity. We light the fourth candle for Buddhism. The goal of Buddhism is to let go. We light this candle for release. The fifth and final candle honors new thought, letting go of all that opposes your purpose, a reliance on the law of good, and an unqualified trust in Spirit. So now let's open our minds and our hearts to the message being sung by Michelle Bass.
I believe edge of a blade, let the blossom unfold through the night's velvet cage. I believe in the power of now. I believe I will see if I let go somehow. To be here in this moment is all that I ask. In the heart of forever, no future, no past. I believe, to be here in this moment is all that I ask. In the heart of forever, no future, no past. I believe, I believe.
If you would please join me in a blessing for this service. It is so beautiful to see all of you in these seats this morning, and I believe that in each one of these seats, Spirit is sitting, working through each one of you. And as we move into this service, I want to say thank you to all of our musicians, to our beautiful singer, Michelle, to all of the hearts and hands that came forth to help prepare this service this morning. And I especially say thank you to Reverend Jackie for stepping aside and allowing Spirit to come through her and deliver the message that we each came here to hear this morning. So together, let's say Namaste, Om, Shanti, Ashe, Amen, Aho, and so it is. And now let's welcome Michelle Bass.
There was a time I packed my dreams away, living in a shell, hiding from myself. There was a time when I was so afraid. I thought I'd reach the end, but baby, that was then. But I am made of more than my yesterdays. This is my now, and I'm breathing in the moment. As I look around, I can't believe the love I see. My fears behind me, gone are the shadows and doubts that was then.
and gentlemen, Michelle Bass. Woo. And Rex Miller's with us today, even though he's had a little bit of the bug. You doing okay, buddy? All right, don't be hugging him, though. You might catch his bug, and we don't want that. Good morning. Good morning, empty table. How are you all doing? You're fine? Okay, good. Yes, you are. So good morning. Good morning. It's such a delight to welcome all of you. Why don't y'all just move over here to the table? Okay, so here's the thing I want to say to all of y'all. Boy, those lights are bright this morning. Wonder if we could turn them down, the spotlights, just a fraction. Or maybe it's just me because we're tired. Hey, so I have a reaction to pain, which is when I have a little bit of pain and it's kind of like a spasm, sometimes I go, ah! Okay, this morning people are telling me that not everybody has that, which is a little surprise to me. So I've got a little spasm happening in my back. So I have pain Tourette's this morning, maybe. No, just know that, Tourette's is when people just kind of, right? And, see? And I absolutely promise you that I am not doing that. I mean, I am doing it, but it's not something that I know is coming on. So don't get upset. I'm just fine. I've just pulled a muscle in my back, and so I've got a little Tourette pain this morning. So when I go, don't be concerned, okay? So good morning. First, I just want to start by saying how lovely it is to see all of you this morning, especially those of you who were with us last night. If you were not with us last night, it'll forever go down as the bleeding heart chicken night of the day. All right, no using of the hands. That's part of the problem, I'm thinking. And if you don't know what that means, ask somebody later. But what started out as kind of a little disastrous evening ended up being so wonderful. And I just want to acknowledge right up front all of the people who supported us during this, what was basically a nightmare. But everybody except me kept their heads about them. I didn't so well. I was so filled with anxiety and lack of control. Here's the deal. The chicken wasn't cooked, y'all. If you weren't here, the chicken wasn't cooked all the way through. So I was filled with such anxiety, but the team just came in. They were calm. They were peaceful. We got the chicken all cooked. But there are hundreds of people that I want to especially acknowledge. But I really want to acknowledge Allison, somewhere is here, and Deborah Whitman, who in that kitchen kept saying, Reverend Jackie, you got to come down. Reverend Jackie, you got to come down. Don't talk to me like this. When you're in anxiety, you're like a nervous wreck. And our staff was so calm and so peaceful, and I say thank you very much to all of you who helped do that. For all of you who are visiting us online, never mind. You have no idea. And I get it, but we're glad that you're with us. So this month, we have been talking about abundance, prosperity, and gratitude. This is what I've told you that we are going to be talking about this month. But we're not really talking about that today, and I'm going to tell you why. Because last night, in the midst of powerlessness, because that's what it was for me, I was absolutely powerless, which is a strange thing for Jackie Holland to be in. And and there was nothing that could happen. I had to turn it over to people who knew things that I didn't know. Everybody was so kind, and I started recognizing the contagion, and this is the name of the topic, by the way, for Jenna, the contagion of fear. The contagion of fear. And while we are talking about abundance in a way, because one of the things that we know is that the leading enemy, if we can use that word, of abundance and prosperity is fear. It's a consciousness. It's a way that we live and think and move through our life with fear. And then once in a while, somebody calm has to come in and say, there's nothing we can do about this except just take one step at a time. And as I'm looking at the news, as I'm looking at everything that's happening, there is a reason to be fearful. I'm not denying that to you. Many of us have relatives who have lost benefits and salaries. Many of us have family, or perhaps even yourself, that has been laid off in your job because of the shutdown. I know most of us are afraid right now that this shutdown will never end. Well, we know it will end, we know it must end, we know that it shall end, but the reality is that we're living in fear right now, perhaps not for yourself, but for other people in our world and especially in this country right now, that we're fearful. And so when I decided to talk about fear today, which is the number one enemy of abundance, then what we know is that fear is contagious. Have you ever gone into a room or sat on an airplane and you were just whistling a happy tune as you got on the plane? Because yay, that is if you can get a plane right now. Okay, just never mind. But here's the thing, you were just having such a wonderful time, and then you sit next down to a person who's filled with fear and apprehension. That person almost, let's talk about on an airplane, that person almost doesn't have to open their mouth for me to know that they are filled with fear and apprehension. And then by the time that you get out of that airplane, you don't recognize it necessarily, but there's a little bit of a cloud. There's a little bit of fear and apprehension yourself. And that person never said a word, perhaps. Because fear is contagious. It's an energy source. By the way, I'm doing something today that I almost never do. I am quoting almost verbatim, in most cases today, from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, who wrote on the contagion of fear. And this was a talk that he gave in 1958 on fear. And when I was doing my research for this late last night, I thought I could never do any better than this, so you're going to get a treat and hear straight hear straight from our founder. When he talks about fear, he says it's possible for us to catch fear from others as just like we'd catch a cold, just like we'd catch anything, for we're all unconscious, mental, emotional, and spiritual broadcasting stations. We're always putting out to other people our energy, where we are, what we are doing. This takes us back, he says, to a thought in the Bible which says that a person's enemies shall be those of his own household, meaning your mind is your household. Our fears, our enemies are in our own household, for our real enemies are our fears and phobias, our doubts, our uncertainties, our worries, our inner conflicts. Many years ago, of course, when I discovered this faith, and I was so grateful that I did, and others had discovered this before me, but I finally understood what was wrong with my nieces and nephews when they were babies. They had what's called colic. They were agitated, they were crying, they were nervous and fretful and agitated. Many of them had nightmares. They couldn't keep their food down sometimes. And I realized that they were affected by an inner agitation of their parents' thoughts and feelings. We hear this, the calmer the mother, the calmer the baby. It's nobody's fault. Especially a new mama who's just had a baby, doesn't really know what to do. This thing has been put on her without an instruction manual or even a digital trail to follow. What is she supposed to do? It's scary. And so what happens here is that there's inner conflict, and the child picks it up because we are broadcasting systems. Our inner feelings, Ralph Waldo Emerson once again said this, "Who you are thunders over me so loudly that I can't hear what you're saying." That's in modern English. That's not exactly how he said it, but what is he saying there? He is saying that who you are, your inner ideas, your inner thoughts, your inner conflicts are so clear to me, you don't even have to tell me, just like the man that you were sitting next to on the airplane. Didn't have to say a word. Last night, Allison and Deborah knew. They knew there was almost nothing that was going to calm me down except them radiating calmness, broadcasting calmness to me. Broadcasting calmness. So I was so grateful for that. But let's broaden the field for just a second and say that it goes beyond the mother, and that the whole world is filled with the thoughts of the people who live in it. And that perhaps we are all more or less subject to the passing emotions of race mind. Race mind means the collective consciousness of all thought, word, and deed of all humanity. And we live and move and have our very being in it. We cannot escape race consciousness, mass consciousness. It is there. You all know when you walk into a place and it's a friendly, warm, welcoming place, you feel it and you know it, right? On the other side of the coin is, have you ever walked into a perhaps Ku Klux Klan meeting? Maybe that wasn't so friendly and welcoming and warm for you. By the way, I have been in a Ku Klux Klan meeting, just so you know. Yeah, I know. My uncle was the head poompa, wah-wah, hee-ha, whatever they call them, of the Klan in North Carolina. It's a shameful thing to tell you. I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't speak to him when I past the age of 6 when I recognized what he was. When he came in one night and said, look at this, I thought it was red mud, but it wasn't, it was blood. But anyway, that's another story I think to tell you, all right? So let's just broaden the field right now and recognize that there are people out there with race consciousness fears right now going on. I think I need to, somebody give me some tape and let's just wrap this thing. So we're more or less subject to passing emotions with everybody. Look around the table right now, or those of you who are in chairs, just look at the people in the chairs. Look around at each other. Name the emotion. Go ahead. Name the emotion that's in their face. Go on. It's fun. For some of you, it might be impatience. Let's get on with this. For some of you, it might be I'm too warm, but whatever it is. But anyway, this is Ernest Holmes now saying this. He says, a leading psychiatrist has told us that fear can render a person completely unconscious as far as his brain is concerned. He tells us that it paralyzes the memory, and if a person is afraid he will forget something, he is likely to do so. If you think you're going to forget something, like, okay. I have to physically check my purse every morning when I leave that house for that phone because I'm so afraid I'm going to leave it. And guess what? I do a lot. So if we are afraid of something, what do we teach in religious science? That it comes back to us, that our energy, our focus, our energy. So he says that in cases of amnesia, people are so frightened by some unconscious thought that often they even forget their own names or who they are and where they come from. Because fear is at the basis of what I am talking about. Ernest Holmes once said, if I want to know what you really believe, all I have to do is look at your life. All I have to do, we could go on and say, all I have to do is look at what you are afraid of. Take a second right now. And I want you to go in. Just go in. And you're not going to share this. You don't have to share this. Be honest with yourself. What's the one thing right now, if you were being completely honest, that you would say, I'm a little fearful of this? Okay, let me put it another way for all you religious scientists that say, oh no, I'm whole, perfect, and complete. There's nothing wrong with me. I want you to think, what is it that's making you a little uncomfortable? I'm uncomfortable about people that I know that might not be able to eat next week. I'm very afraid of that. I'm afraid that this country is so fractured that we may or may not be able to get back, and maybe we shouldn't get back. Maybe we're creating something new. I don't know. These are the things that are keeping me up at night. I worry about every person in this church and how is their family and their friends and how are their health. I mean, I know it's not rational because this is your journey, but again, these are things that if I dwell on, I could bring. Therefore, we don't dwell. We pray. Here's what else he says. Ernest Holmes says, fear produces a mysterious chemical which is released into the blood, but this chemical disappears when the anxiety is over. Now remember, guys, for all of you who might be medical people, forget about it because remember this was written in probably the 40s, and I know we've learned a lot, but I still think that this is very true. He says, we all have our little fears and anxieties, and we all wish to get over them. The healing of fear and anxiety is not to be found in any drug or any physical manipulation. The cure, he says, is to be found only within our own minds. The antidote to fear is in our own minds. When fear is a disease, he says, we have to be our own doctors. We have to be. Now, I'm not talking to any of us who take anti-anxiety pills or other things to help us through difficult times in life. I'm not saying that this is wrong, because once again, Ernest Holmes says God works through doctors. That if an aspirin helps you get rid of your headache, then take a dang aspirin, he said. I doubt he said dang, but anyway. It's like the person who went to the doctor and said, you know, every time I move my leg this way, it hurts. And the doctor said, well, stop doing it. Stop moving your leg that way. When we're afraid, maybe it is simple as, what can I focus my mind on that is the opposite or the spiritual opposite of what it is that I am afraid of right now? That's what we can ask ourselves. We can ask ourselves that we can say to ourselves that wherever love is, fear cannot remain. We can apply the principles of faith and confidence to ourselves as individuals, to our family, to our world, to our country. Right now, we can stand on the principle of faith and say, I know that everything is working in divine and perfect order. And I know it's easy for me to stand up here with the microphone in my hand and to say that to you. How, you're asking, how is it going to be okay, Reverend Jackie? You know what? I do not know. But I know the knower within that does know. I do not know the answer to these problems, but I know that there is a divine and perfect pattern that is unfolding for the greatest and the best for all humanity. I believe it with every fiber of my being. I want you to step out on my faith until you can, but know this, that we as a civilization have always survived, that we have always been stronger and better and greater, and how we did that was by standing on principle, on truth, with love. Ernest didn't say this. I'm just telling you what I believe. Here's what else he goes on to say. Did you ever know, okay, we can apply this principle of faith and confidence, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he says that. Do you ever notice the effect of just being with a person who is calm and poised and unafraid? How different you feel? Like I can keep using last night. Even though I was at the height of concern, I was concerned about so many things. What if somebody had eaten some chicken that was going to make them sick? And now the church is kind of, well, I don't want to use that word. So, but yeah, we were kind of exposed. And of course, you know, as your leader, that's where I have to go. And then I have to pray on it, which I did. And then I was worried about, oh my gosh, we've let so many people down tonight. And I mean, my anxiety level was off the chart. But thank you, Spirit, that a practitioner, and Allison, who is in my mind already a practitioner, knew that the only antidote to this was to be calm. For me, for everybody else, and to do it. So this is what Ernest Holmes is saying. I'm so sorry, guys, that Ernest Holmes is saying that when you are with somebody that's calm or upbeat or powerful, how much better you feel. Once again, he asks this question. What would it be if all of us could consciously become broadcasting stations for faith? Or ask yourself right now, if I'm going to be a broadcasting station, me, you personally, right now, what do you want to broadcast? Share this with the people around you. What do you want to be a broadcasting station for right now? To the world, to your family, and to yourself. And those of you who are at home who don't, go ahead, share this. I want to hear some talking in this room. And for those of you who are at home, just know with me, you know this answer. What is it that you want to broadcast right now to your family, to your friends, to the world, to the President of the United States, to Congress? What do you want to broadcast? Because that's what's happening. There's a ray of energy that's moving out. I want to be a broadcasting station for divine intelligence. I want everybody. I think if all of us had divine spiritual intelligence, we would never make the wrong decisions, ever. We would move into that space where perhaps we are feeling a little uncomfortable about the fears that are coming up, or the concerns that are coming about, worries that are coming up, and we can say, okay, what is it now that I can do to change the channel? Remember those old-fashioned days when we used to go up to the thing and turn it? Anybody remember that? First of all, we were thinner because we had to get up and move. Second of all, you had to really think about what channel you were moving it to because you didn't want to have to get up again. All right, never mind. Dr. Holmes goes on to say, the world is too largely governed by fear. We're afraid of this, and we're afraid of something else. We are afraid of what has happened, what is happening, and what we think is going to happen. I want to hear this. Again, it says, we are afraid of what has happened, what is happening, and what is going to happen. When we have fear, this is what we think about. Oh my gosh, how did we get to this place? How many times have I heard people saying this to me over the last, shall I say, 100 or so days? How did we get to this? How did this happen? What's happening? A ballroom at the White House? What? What's happening? What's next? Don't we? What a waste of our energy, Dr. Holmes is telling us. Because the world is too largely governed by fear. There's no doubt that we have to do something about it. But what we don't have to become are heroic figures who consider themselves the liberators of all humanity. We're not going to solve the problem in a minute. We are going to have to think, what happened to get us here? And what is the great lesson that we are being given by the universe right now? And only when we understand that can we create the world in another way. But where are we going to get this faith and confidence, Dr. Holmes asks us? Certainly not out of the weaknesses of our previous experience, and not perhaps out of the thoughts that we had yesterday. Those thoughts were so filled with anxiety, and we must find some reason for having a faith that is stronger than our fears. We have to find a reason to have faith. How often do I hear people say to me, yeah, I tried that, Reverend Jackie. You said pray. You said meditate. You said do this, do that, do this. And it didn't work, so now I don't believe you. Okay, there's nothing I can do about that except to say that sometimes we have to step out again and again and again. And in fact, this is what Ernest Holmes says. It seems to me that we will have to begin all over again, and we have to find a reason to have faith stronger than our fears. So here's what Ernest Holmes would say in one of his classes. He would say, somebody would say, but Dr. Holmes, let's use as an example, I have the flu. And he would say in his classes, we have here in this church, by the way, transcripts from his house classes if you're ever interested in looking at them. And he would say, that's because you believe more in the flu than you do in health. Think about that. Think about COVID. How much more faith did we have in the power of COVID than we had in the power of our own health? I'm not saying don't go get shots and all. I did, but I'm just simply saying. You know, I did not get COVID until the very end, and it's because I started telling myself a new story. People are taking, this is my story, people are taking off their mask, and I just know somebody's going to have COVID and give it to me. And I said it over and over. And guess what? Because what we put our energy and attention and focus on happens to us. And by the way, I know exactly who gave me COVID, and we're not going to talk about that. But where are we going to get it? We've got to find the reason. And he says, So far, the world has never found the reason for faith over fear except in a spiritual community of some type. I'm not talking religion. I'm not talking dogma. His exact words are this: so far, the world has never found this reason outside what we call religion or a spiritual idea. And by this, he said, I mean a direct faith in God. Because there's nothing for spirit, God, Atman, Brahman, whatever word you want to use. There is nothing for spirit to be afraid of. And so if we can and do tune into the thoughts of others, and if they affect us, as they most certainly do, why should we not learn to tune into the mind of God, which is free from fear and doubt? Okay, hear that. That's a very important point. The next time that you start to feel fear from someone who might be sitting next to you, perhaps, or on a plane or something, and you're tuning into them, and you can say, okay, I can just go and tune into the broadcasting system of God. What number would we give that? 7? Okay, so we would turn it on to 0007 or something. I don't know, 7, I don't know. Just say to yourself, if I am picking this vibration up, if I am picking this energy up, why can't I pick up another energy? Why can't I? Because, again, I want to say this. There's nothing for God to be afraid of. The mind of God in which we live, move, and have our very being is free from doubt, is free from worry, is free from concern, is free from fear. And that's what we mean when we say, please meditate, please pray. That's the roadmap to a connection with Spirit. As Deborah so beautifully read earlier this morning, because we're communing with the invisible Spirit, and we know that its strength is peace, that its strength is serenity, and that we can take that into our own souls. And if, as a result of this, we can become stronger and self-reliant because we've built up a confidence in life. That's what we can do. I'm urging all of us to ask, what broadcasting stations am I listening to? Feeling into, accepting the energy of. You know, when I'm in my car, there are not a lot of channels here in Boise. I mean, well, not like when I was in LA, but, you know, I'm constantly pressing the button, and I only have to have about 5 seconds of listening to a channel until I know it's not for me. And what do? I go to another one. This is what we are trying to say here. If you are finding a radio broadcasting or an energetic broadcasting system that is not to your liking, then why don't we change it to one that is our liking? And for me, it's God. For me, it's prayer. For me, it's meditation. And as a result of this, we become stronger and we know what we want. This is a quote from Dr. Holmes. He says, just as a germ of physical disease is less likely to infect a strong body, so the germ of mental fear is resisted by a whole and happy and joyful mind. So I don't know what gets you joyful. Sometimes it's music for me. Sometimes, you know what? Don't laugh at me, y'all. But sometimes for me, it's reading cartoons. Sometimes I look at cartoons and go, now, why is this funny? I do that a lot. It would be interesting if someday we could read a headline in the daily newspaper which says this: a germ of fear is now operating in Nampa, and it's infecting the whole community. And it would be so interesting if in the same article it was to tell us that there was a group of people who were working to counter that fear germ that's in Nampa, that fear germ, that they are working really hard by broadcasting faith. I know that this works, people. We read in the Christian Bible that the early Christians would surround even a city and pray, and they could either bring a wall down or they could bring peace. What would it be if we could find the source of the infection of fear, and that we could begin to pray around it, work around it, and watch it disappear. I think that's what protests somewhat are about. But I'm talking about deeper than that. You have a family member that's taken by fear, addiction, or disease, or whatever works. You can get them to the best doctors in the world. They can give them the best medication in the world. But I am telling you, there's no stronger medication in connection with the medication. There is no, that the doctor's giving. There is no stronger medication than prayer. Knowing the truth, accepting the truth, believing the truth. And then, he says, after a while, we could pick up another newspaper which had a headline reading, "We are now inoculated with faith, and the fear germ has disappeared." Why don't we start doing that right now? Why don't we start doing that for the people who are not convening the House of Representatives because they're afraid? And they're not putting a duly elected official in the House because they're afraid of that one thing that could happen. What if we were to begin to pray for him, that he could lose his fear, bring our people back so that we can begin to get some changes made in this country? Right now, what if all of our protesting and yelling and screaming and withholding isn't working, because it is not? But what if we, every person in this room, and within the sound of my voice, would begin this pinpointed, specialized prayer on fear in Washington and everywhere else? Well, that might sound a little far-fetched to you, and I get it. But I have absolute confidence that the time is going to come when that happens. I believe it. So the quickest and the most effective method to get rid of fear is to get quiet. First, get quiet. Number one. And lift the whole thought in confidence and faith to something greater than we are. And if you don't believe in God, that's okay with me too. You know what I'm saying? It isn't that we're lifting it to a person, to an entity. We are lifting it in thought, in energy, and in belief. Because if we don't believe that there is something greater than we are, I don't know. I certainly hope there's something greater than I am. Seriously. So can we lift it? It's kind of like going from a cold, dark room into the sunshine and just sitting there. It's like leaving your house and sitting in your backyard in the sun. A few minutes before, it was gloomy and cold and harsh because you hadn't turned your heat up. And now you sit out in your backyard and the sun changes everything. That's what it's like. Letting the rays of the sun penetrate the whole being with warmth and color. That's what prayer can do for you. That's what meditation can do for you. So it is with a life of prayer and of faith, of affirmative meditation, and of communion with the divine spirit that's closer to us than even hands or feet, nearer than us than breath and our heartbeat. Don't forget, fear is contagious. Concern is contagious. Worry is contagious. It's contagious. And how wonderful it is in this moment, I think, to recognize that we can change our environment, that we can change our energy, that we can influence our environment so that anybody who steps into it can feel the warmth and the radiance of our rays of life and love. And we can be certain of something else, that there is at the center of our very being a strong fortress of faith. It's already been placed there by a power that's greater than we are, by an intelligence that knows everything long before we do, and furthermore, it's held in place by the divine presence that is God, spirit, life, universal intelligence within us. And so it's to this spirit that we have to turn. And so what is a method? You know, me and my steps, when Ernest Holmes had them too. So he says, what is the method? Here are a few, he used the words rules. I'm going to say guidelines. Here's what Dr. Holmes, our founder, suggested, that whenever there's any worry, concern, unsettledness in you, that here is what you want to follow, these simple rules. First of all, if you have a fear, a concern, a worry, don't harbor them. Don't hold on to them. Find a friend, a good friend. Maybe it's your mate, I don't know. But I'll tell you what it is. It's not somebody who goes, oh, that's so horrible. Oh, my God. How many of you have gone to somebody and said, oh, you know, I'm so concerned about this, yeah? And they go, oh, my God, that's so terrible. I'm going to share a very personal story with you about that. I was diagnosed, as many of you know, and some of you know the story, that three of my siblings had breast cancer, including my mother, and who's not a sibling, obviously, right? And so there's a lot of fear there. There was a lot of fear there, till I found this faith, and I decided I would take a different route, which is to know the opposite, that my body is whole, perfect, and complete. There was no concern for me to be worried about, including my two aunts that had it as well. Anyway, I've never had it, just so you know, but about when we first moved into this building, I'll never forget it because it was right in that corner, a doctor said, okay, we have some bad news. It doesn't look good, blah, blah, blah. You know how they do that. And there's a tumor and blah, blah, blah. So I got 12 women, some from Los Angeles, some from here, to surround me. And I told no one else besides those 12 women. And here's what I said to them. I need people who are going to know the truth about me, who are going to hold me in the light and not go, oh, my God. Because one of the first people that I shared it with, she says, oh, my God, I just knew it. Oh, your sister's blah, blah, blah. You know, this was not helpful. Can I say that? That was not helpful. And so I said that. And then the few people that I let into this, I said, this is your job and your only job, to hold the truth for me, to know the truth, to believe the truth. And I was a little bit in fear. I'm not going to lie. There's some truth here. I was a little bit in fear. And folks, 2 weeks later, there was no tumor. It was gone. Now, you can believe that story or not, but I will tell you what the doctor said to me as I was quite weirded out by it. Because here was this giant thing that was there 2 weeks ago, and now on the x-rays you can see it, and then on these or whatever you call those things that women have, it was gone, and I kept saying to the doctor, but where'd it go? You must have the wrong x-rays. Where'd it go? Now, who was feeding into the false narrative there? Me. So the doctor said to me, I don't know. And then he turned to me as he was leaving the room, and he said, listen, I don't get to tell this to people very often, that this is gone. He said, hell, I never get to. Those were his words, hell, I never get to. And he said, so you're not going to get me down today. And then as he left and did slam the door, he said, look, somebody in this room is supposed to believe in miracles, and it's not me. Even ministers fall into the contagion of fear. Even the greatest gurus, perhaps, I don't know, I can't say, fall into a momentary lapse of knowing the truth. What did I believe more in that moment than I believed in health? But the people that I had holding me, that were holding the light, and this is what I'm trying to say to you, when you have a fear, I'm so sorry, when you have a fear or a worry, the first thing you have to do is really share it with someone, because it will help to release it in your body. But find a calm, confident person who can point out the reasons why you cannot entertain fear. That could be a practitioner. That's what our practitioners are for. Honestly, people, they sit in front of you and they know the truth of you. They see the truth of you. They believe the spiritual wholeness of you. Find someone who can do that for you. And then the next thing to do, whenever you find yourself brooding over some fear or anxiety, Here's the deal. Begin at once to do something about it. Don't wait. Don't let that fear harbor itself. Don't let it grow. Don't let it fester, as Mama would say. Don't do that. And the next thing is to tell yourself that you would not be here if there were not a power greater than you are that put you here, and that you have confidence in this power. Never be able to afraid to say to this power and this divine presence, I now lay down all my fears and doubts and anxiety. I pass them back into the great and perfect life of which I know I am a part. Confess your fears to this power. Let God know that you are concerned, and I promise you, your fears will begin to recede. I tell you, this is true. Now, it is not as difficult as it sounds. One way to do this is to become like a little child. Ernest Holmes loved to use the phrase, become as a little child. He loved saying that because he was talking about the innocence. He was talking about the openness that a child has. He uses it here once again. He says, if you become as a little child. We all need to resurrect this little child within us, who unfortunately has been so buried in our unhappy experiences that we have almost forgotten that she was ever there. But we have not quite forgotten, have we, he says. We all need to resurrect the confidence and life with which we had in our youth. So remember this, when you were a little kid and something happened. Maybe it was that somebody hurt your feelings when you were in school, or maybe it was that you got afraid of something, or you had a bad dream, and then you went to your mama or somebody that you trusted, perhaps your dad or someone, and you said, this happened to me, and when they said, it's okay, everything's all right, what did you know? That everything was all right, that everything would be okay, and that's what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about moving back to that power. That's what we must do. Ernest Holmes says this, to recapture this dream of youth is the wisest and the most intelligent thing a person can do. Because fear has brought that adult you confusion, and faith will give you confidence. Anxiety has brought days filled with conflict and nights filled with dread. But faith alone can heal this confusion. Faith alone can heal this confusion and drive from our mind all thoughts of fear, all thoughts of worry, all thoughts of concern, and it can dissipate all anxiety, he says. Love alone, love alone, love alone can bring harmony, can bring peace into all of our lives. So I know right now, many of you have said to me, Reverend Jackie, I just am not watching the news anymore. And I get it. And I want to remind you that once again, I do. I watch the news for you, maybe. You want to know anything, ask me. Or John, we can tell you, can't we, John? Seriously. No, I'm not kidding, seriously. Thoughtful. John is thoughtful, and he thinks through things and helps me understand things, and others in this room. And for those of you who don't, fine, that's great. I use news, I use broadcasts, I use CNN, The Guardian, and several others. I use them as my prayer request list. I sit and I write, truly, words down that tell me what I need to pray for, because the world is yearning for prayer. So right now, be not afraid, little children. Be not afraid. Be not afraid. And remember that the one thing we all of us right this moment need to be holding is vision. Vision. What is your vision for your world, for our country, for Boise, for your neighborhood, for your home? And if you don't have a vision, come here and our practitioners will vision with you and pray with you and help you develop it. Let's turn with it and pray, shall we? Just take a moment right now, and I asked you earlier today in this talk to visualize something that was worrying you, something that was concerning you perhaps. And now I want you to think of the spiritual truth about that situation. I'm worried you might have said to yourself that there is not going to be enough money this year for Christmas. You could hold in your heart and your mind that everything is abundant in spirit, that there is no lack or limitation in this universe. And if you find yourself not believing that, then perhaps you could hold an idea that this year will be different than any other year we have ever had. And it will be remarkable and magnificent and filled with intention and purpose and joy, because we're finding a new way through this. Perhaps you have been diagnosed with a concern of the body temple, the emotional temple, the psychological, mental temple. Perhaps you could hold that there is only perfection in that which has been created by Spirit itself, and that there is within you the wholeness, the healing, the health that we are blocking through our fear. And so we can say to ourselves, I know that there is within me the perfect prototype of the body temple. And that anything that is unlike this perfection is now being dissolved and released right in this moment. Perhaps you have a difficult decision to make about yourself or a loved one, or perhaps you have recently made a difficult decision. You could hold and know with me that I am guided perfectly and held in divine wisdom, that I am guided, supported, sustained, and upheld by that wisdom. And I now open myself to knowing the right path. Perhaps you said to yourself, I'm not certain about this new person that I've just met, or I'm not certain about the relationship that I am in. This divine wisdom is the prayer. Perhaps you could say to yourself, I will know when I know, and I will accept perfect guidance. Love alone can bring harmony into our lives. And so we pray. Father, Mother, God, infinite intelligence, living, loving life almighty. I am one with this Spirit. I am one with this life. I am one with this wisdom, and I know this truth for all people everywhere. I accept it, I know it, and I believe it. And from this platform of faith and conviction, I lay aside all fear. And in confidence and complete faith, I turn to the one perfect divine presence, knowing that the light of truth shines upon my path, even as divine love guides me into the secret place of the Most High, where I dwell in the shadow and the essence of God itself. I know that there is nothing to be afraid of in God's world. Fear cannot operate in me, nor can it go forth from me. At the very center of my being, there is complete confidence, complete faith. At the very center of my being, there is consciousness of the protection of divine love, the guidance of divine wisdom, and the strength of divine power. And so I turn in thought to the whole world and know that my world is bringing light and love and a feeling of strength and confidence to everyone. I turn in thought to the leaders of the world everywhere and know that love and intelligence, I know that love and intelligent guidance is directing their thoughts and actions. I turn in thought to all the nations of the earth and awakening in them the realization that there is good enough to go around, that there is a divine government under which they all may be protected from the fear of each other, because we are one. I now turn in thought to the great creative imagination of the human race and assure it that there is a feeling and a presence at the center of everything waiting to make itself known. And I turn to the great God, the great spirit of life itself, known by so many different names, followed by so many different paths. I turn to this power who knows all things, who does all things through us. And I say, lead, kindly light, amid the encircling gloom of this world. Lead me on. Show me. Use me, oh God. I stand for you. And so it is. And so we let it be. Amen. 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 Take a deep breath with me. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Just turn to someone and let them know how glad you are that they are in church with you today. Thank you so much. As you know, we are a church of prayer, or you will find on your tables, or for those of you who were didn't want to sit at tables, you'll find them in the back of the seats. The prayer cards are there. Deborah Whitman will be available to pray with you after church. She'll be hanging around over here and waiting to go into the prayer room with you to receive prayer. For those of you who are online, please go to prayers@cslboise.org, prayers@cslboise.org, and put in your prayer requests. Or, as I love to remind you, you can always call our prayer line at 208-375-0791. 208-375-0791. And you can just hear a beautiful message there and also leave your prayer requests there. Today is a little different, as you know, because we had an event last night. And so thank you so much for being with us. And I just once again would like to ask all of the individuals who volunteered and did any work at all, including bringing these lovely gifts that for the silent auction or the raffle, please stand and let us acknowledge you. Please stand. Our servers, our cleaners, our cookers, our everybody. And this is only about half of them. Can I tell you that? This is only about half of them. Mary Borg, who put together the silent auction, we love you. Beverly, who put together the bar, we love you. JJ and Allison, who did the food, we are so grateful to you. Sandia, who helped with the decorating and everything else. I mean, it's a big deal to put this stuff together, and it was good, and we missed you very much. In our prayers today, there are so many individuals who have requested prayer. I'm just going to ask us all to hold Sandra Kavanaugh and her children her four daughters in our prayers, as Sandra's ex-husband, but a very dear friend and a wonderful father, Dean, made his transition unexpectedly this week. So that family is truly grieving and truly hurting, and we just know that all is well. I'm asking you also to hold our beloved Beth Ambrose in our prayers. As many of you know, Alzheimer's is perhaps one of the cruelest and saddest diseases that we face right now. And when I meet the great creator, I'm going to ask her, what was that all about? No, I'm making a joke just to lighten the mood, but I want you all to know that the difficult decision to place Barbara into memory care, Barbara Ballera into memory care, has been made. Beth made it, and it was very difficult, as I'm sure that you know. Barbara is doing great. She's wonderful. She's well. And I know that also our beloved Beth could use your support and your love as well. I break this news to you so that you don't have to ask her a million times, so that we don't have to do that. We can just say, we're holding you, we love you. And if anyone is interested in visiting, just please call her, take a meal over. That would be fun. And speaking of meals, as you're preparing your gift, your offering, I want to tell you that we made an awful lot of the most delicious salad. I'm not kidding, that I have had in so, wasn't it wonderful? That salad, it was wonderful. That salad was delicious. We overmade the salad, and we overmade some of this wonderful rice, vegetarian rice that was made. So here's what I'd like to say. We want to share that today. And in the back, we were going to sit around tables and eat, but let me tell you, we're all worn out. So in the back of the room, there are to-go containers. What we would like you guys to do is get salad and rice and put your own protein to it if you are a flesh eater. Put your own protein to it, sorry. Put your own protein to it, and now you have a delicious and wonderful meal. We're asking you to please do that so that we don't have to throw it away or take it away. And we have this gravy that makes that rice so delicious. It's again a vegetarian kind of thing. It's wonderful. So, please, what we also are asking is your support. I have wonderful news. The lights are going up tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. They're coming. The lights are going up. We're so excited, just in time for our interfaith meeting, which is on Tuesday night, and you are invited at 7, is that correct? 7 o'clock, where there will be speeches from 8 or I don't know how many, 7 different faith religions on the issue of diversity within their different faiths. So please come Tuesday night at 7. Also, our 12-step program still will continue on Tuesday night. On Wednesday, we have our meditation at noon, so we invite you to come to that. And after church, we're going to ask for some help for people who've got some energy. We need to take the chairs and get them out of this area. We need to get the tables down. Please take the tables and just we'll move that, what do you call that thing? Gong. Wow. We'll move that gong, and you can just line the tables up there so that we can put them up later, which I'll also speak. So after church, here's what I'd like. If individuals could take all the decorations and place them on the first 2 tables that are over there. And then what you will do is take the linens and just take them off and put them in the corner over there. Just throw them on the ground. No worries, okay? Except for the gauzy stuff, separate that into 2 piles. Then the gentleman or other people can come and roll the tables to right here. Then the chairs can be moved and stacked to under the eaves so that the forklift or the little, lift can get in here tomorrow. And if you're willing to help us, we are deeply grateful for that. Also, we'll need some help on Monday night getting the chairs set back up for our Tuesday night event. If you have any time on Monday or Monday night, because we don't know, they say it's going to take an hour for each fixture, so that's 6 hours. I would say Monday night. At 5 o'clock or whenever, if anybody wants to come and help us set chairs up. Now, normally I do that myself, but I think y'all can see that I should not probably be lifting any chairs right now. Okay, so everybody got it? We're going to have wonderful food afterwards for you to take home. We could use a little bit of help. Many hands make light the work. If you light the load. If you are visiting with us for the first time, yes, sir. What time would you like to come? How about 5 o'clock? 5 o'clock on Monday night. And really, if we have 4 or 5 people, it literally will take 30 minutes or less. I mean, it'll go fast. Is there anything special about setup that you? Okay. Thank you, Deborah. Deborah's in charge of this interfaith stuff, so it's very exciting. All right. I want to say and am saying thank you to everybody. I'm not going to mention who you are today that did everything. Oh, and by the way, did I mention that? Sorry, folks, y'all really missed out last night. But we had the best dessert I have put in my mouth in years. We had homemade baklava by Norma, who's just left the room, and Allison, who's somewhere. I mean, they're in the back. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. Y'all missed it. Anyway, thank you very much to all of you who helped serve. This is our conscious giving time, the time when we give back to Spirit. And if you are visiting with us for the first time today and you haven't received a little gift that we want to hand you, do we have any new people? Just kind of put your hand up and we can. Yeah, anybody? Put your hand up. We won't embarrass you, we promise. Yep, here we are. We haven't seen you in a while, and it's so nice to see you. Glad to have you here. One of the most spiritual men I know in my life, standing up right here. Yeah, he's a guru if I've ever met one. So, thank you for being here. We are so delighted. And do we have people taking up the offering? Mary? Okay, so come on up here. This is our gift, our offering time. We just bless it. We say, thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, life, for sustaining this church, sharing your bounty, your abundance with this church. I say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen, amen, amen. Ladies and gentlemen, the best music on Sunday morning with the most remarkable musician, Michelle Bass. Thank you so much.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of your pine, you know how I feel. Yeah, freedom is mine, and I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Thank you, Michelle. Wasn't she awesome? Thank you so much. Please stand for your blessing. May we all be blessed this week with releasing those fears, or at least beginning that process to let go of what doesn't serve us. Peace and blessings.